So the ibis portfolio in India today stands at 23 hotels across the country, of which many of our hotels are in hub spoke model, where we are clustered in big cities. Like for example, Mumbai has 4 hotels of ibis. The 5th one, incidentally, is opening out sometime towards the end of this year. It's coming up at Kalina. It's going to be our 5th ibis hotel in Mumbai. We believe that big cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore have opportunity to absorb more hotels. In other words, more supply at the price point that we operate at, the segment that we operate at. So we will be opening one there. Incidentally, there's one more ibis styles, which is outside of the portfolio that I manage right now, but it's coming up in Mysore. It's the ibis styles Mysuru, which is another beautiful hotel. I've seen the designs. It's underway right now. It's going to be one hell of a hotel. Similarly, if I talk about the recent development, we just recently opened up our ibis styles Vagator, which is second ibis styles in Goa, and the second ibis styles in our portfolio. It's a beautiful hotel, very trendy, very nifty. It's worth a visit. I would urge everybody to come and check it out. It's very different from what other ibis styles have been in the past, or any ibis has been in the past. It's an interesting spin on the ibis styles India story. So we have 21 hotels, ibis hotels, that I and my team manage. And of the 21 hotels, roughly every hotel, we operate on manning of roughly about 0.5 to a room. And there are about 4,000 odd rooms across 21 hotels. So our head count is in the region of about 2,000 people across 21 hotels. So we believe that the ibis brand is very uniquely positioned. And if you remember, in the business, we were one of the first hotels to operate in the economy segment, economy and mid-scale segment, right? And I say economy and mid-scale segment because in the definition of mid-scale and economy, sometimes it overlaps. Ideally, we are an economy brand. Ibis is an economy brand. The first ibis economy brand hotel opened in ibis as the ibis Gurgaon many years ago, and it was an absolute roaring success. And it gave faith to the company that ibis as a model is perfect for the Indian audience, and India was ready to accept and embrace ibis as a brand, as a segment. On the back of the success of ibis Gurgaon, many hotels were immediately identified as locations and built in a very fairly short period of time. I think, like in any business or any industry, if the core of the business, which, for instance, in hospitality, it's about being warm and hospitable to people, if that is something that comes to you naturally, then you come with a huge advantage as an individual into the industry. You're not trying to inculcate a personality that doesn't exist in you. Of course, I'm not saying that if you don't have it naturally, you can't imbibe it over a period of time. But if you have that naturally as a flair, as a personality trait in you, then you're on the front foot to start with. And I think that can give you a head start in the industry that others may not necessarily get. Like if you love meeting people, if you love serving people and making their stays and travel comfortable and enjoyable, I think you have a hugely positive impact on their experiences, and that can go a long way in giving you that head start. That would be one important factor that can give you that initial catapult effect early in your career. The second one, I think, which is common to any industry again, is hard work. Right? There's no shortcut to hard work. We, as an industry, have matured over the last couple of decades. We made some great positive strides. We understand that as an industry, we don't live in isolation. We don't exist in isolation. There are several industries that are available for young aspiring students to consider, and I think that's an extremely important positive step that the industry has taken. And I think not just ibis and Accor Hotels India, but I think the industry as such has evolved in the positive direction, and I think that will only get better as time goes by. So as I said, first is, if you are hospitable and if you love meeting people and interacting with people and socializing, if that's something that comes to you naturally, that's a great advantage that you have. Second is hard work. And I think between these two, I don't think this is the first one may be specific to hospitality industry, but the second one is universal, right? I mean, hard work gets you success. Like I think somebody said that with increased hard work, you increase your strike rate with luck, and you get more lucky with more hard work. Look, I think it's a moving goalpost, right? And I think why I say that is because every year brings with it unique challenges in the hiring landscape, be it acquiring experienced talent or be it acquiring inexperienced talent fresh from colleges and institutes. We did see a massive change in the dynamics after the pandemic because a lot of them moved from the industry to edtech and fintech. But as you would know that the edtech wasn't a sustainable jump that we all witnessed, and it rode its high and it's on its way down, if not already fully down. Fintech didn't really jump up as high as edtech did, but fintech also is not necessarily going to displace and move all the talent that was groomed for hotel industry. There's of course retail business that has also come into play in a big way, and India continues to grow as a consumer centric. Consumerism has grown in India, and people are consuming more and more, and retail is growing at a rapid pace across the country. So there is certainly a certain amount of hotel groomed talent which is going to other industries. However, those who feel connected to the industry still continue to come to us. I think there is an opportunity for hotels to increase the quantity or the number of students that we can attract as fresh talent. Is there an opportunity? Yes. In other words, there is a clear opportunity there. Many hotel companies are trying different tactics to try and improve on that. I think as an industry, like I said earlier, we've evolved and we are far more employee centric than we were ever before, and so that's a positive move in the right direction. But I think that war on talent will continue. It was there 20 years ago, it was there 10 years ago, and it exists, perhaps in a different form and perhaps in a different avatar than we have seen in the past. But I think that's what keeps us on our toes and makes us creative and makes us want to look at different ways in which we can remain relevant and keep getting the best talent available. As a company, we believe it is important for us to give the first opportunity for our internal talent. If somebody has demonstrated loyalty and has put in long periods of time with dedication and hard work in the organization, it is only fair that we allow talent to grow and nurture them within the company. We've got several programs within the company which identifies talent, high potential talent within the company, and gives them a curriculum and a learning growth path, which culminates in improved and promotions for them, and gives them a career path, so to speak. And so that's very clearly defined. And I think that is one of the reasons why a lot of our employees in Accor, we call them heartists. So we believe that our heartists have a great opportunity within the company. We want to keep it that way. and we want to make sure that the proverbial, we grow our own wood. We like to grow our own wood. I joined Accor many years ago, back in 2006 and late 2005, 2006, and it was the first property of Accor in India. It was the Novotel Hyderabad and the Hyderabad International Convention Center. It was a combo property. It was an iconic hotel back then. It still is an iconic hotel. It's the first custom-built and purpose-built convention center in the country, and till date, it is a talked about hotel, talked about convention center, because it did come into an environment where there were no convention centers in the true sense of the word, and we created a new space for ourselves, and we did exceptionally well. And I was part of that team, and I was lucky to be part of that team. And we did some great numbers. We created a great culture there, and we aligned to the global Accor culture of excellence and performance. Subsequently, I moved into, so I was there in a sales capacity when I started off, and I grew to become director of operations there. Back in the day, it was called resident manager. So I was a resident manager of that combination hotel and convention center, and I became a general manager thereafter, and I did 3 general manager roles within Accor. So, as is the case with me, it was clearly evident and for everyone to see that if you did the right thing, you poured your energy and did all the hard work and did everything that you need to do, the company would look after you. I think that's a great example that I saw for myself, and I keep telling everybody that the company is built internally and the DNA is wired in such a way that it look after people who spend time and done the right thing in the organization. I think keeping the workplace relevant to the youngsters, I think that's very important. I think you would remember that early days of our career, when the mobile phones just come into play, you were not allowed to bring your mobile phones to the workplace, and if you did bring it and then it was found, in many companies they get confiscated, and you have to pay a fine, etc., etc., right? And so there was this entire workplace environment which wasn't necessarily supportive of that. And I think cut to today's day and age in 2024, I think things have changed dramatically, right? Mobile phones have become so personal, and so they're an extension of your body and your mind in many ways. So I think like a concept that was where it did not allow you to carry your phone with you, but otherwise you see the mobile phone is so integral part of your everyday life, and you would not take that away from an employee, and if you were to take that away from an employee, it would be considered sacrilege, right? So I think just one example of how the work environment has changed significantly over the years, and we've got to keep adapting ourselves to ensure that we're abreast of the times and don't necessarily get stuck in things that were done maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago. We've got to keep pace with the present day and time. For instance, at ibis hotels in India, we are a zero single-use plastic hotel. We don't have single-use plastic hotel used in the hotel at all. And that's such an extremely important thing for us as a company. Well, when we speak to our artists, and we talk to them and say that, hey, do you know that we are a zero single-use plastic hotel? The amount of pride that they take in that is unbelievable. Honestly, I never thought that would be such a big thing, but for our employees, that is an extremely important thing, and for them, they take a huge amount of pride in how unique we are and how we place so much of focus and attention on sustainability. Again, this is a demonstration of how the millennials and the youngsters are so conscious about their impact on the environment, and they believe in social causes, environmental causes, and that becomes an extremely important part of their lives. I think while Accord does have its values that we look at, and we see the fitment of a candidate when we're interviewing them, I think the golden rules remain. The golden rule is attitude. Right? We look for the right attitude. You may not be skilled enough when we're hiring you, especially in junior positions, right? You may not be skilled enough. You may have very basic skills, or you may not have the skills in the right way we want you to have. However, not having the right attitude is a no go. So you've got to have the right attitude. You've got to have a positive frame of mind. You've got to be somebody with tons of energy, positive frame of mind, wanting the desire to want to achieve something in life. And those are some of those critical attitude, personality traits that we look for. And if the candidate has these personality traits, I think the next set would be to see how they fit into the Accor values. But the first filter would be the attitude and elements of attitude that are displayed by the candidate. I think the moment you think of technology, and declutter the entire technology space and look at technology as an enabler, the moment you see it as an enabler, I think it reduces the noise around that entire discussion of technology. Technology has to be seen as an enabler. The guest experience of staying at a hotel or dining at a hotel or restaurant or a bar uh, is the center and the core of the entire business. The business is centered around making sure the guest has a great time, either while staying at the hotel or having a meal at the hotel or having a drink at the hotel. That is sacrosanct, and that hasn't changed from perhaps the last millennia, right? That is central to the whole business model. If you have technology that enable you to achieve that end goal, I think you have a winner. But if you're going to force fit technology into the process, and not necessarily aid in getting to that end goal, I think then you are not using technology as it can be used. So that's how I see technology. That's how the company sees technology. And we're making several interventions in that space to try and ensure that technology is helping us accelerate to achieve that great guest experience and delightful moments, and not take away from that and make it more of a process which can slow down the process. So there are proprietary technologies that we work with, and we certainly have technology partners for that. We certainly use technology in property management systems, right? And that has been used by hotels for many years now, many decades now. But that piece is evolving constantly, and at the same time, technology is coming and entering areas which hitherto never had tech in it. For instance, HR did not have a huge amount of technology at play, but that is slowly but surely changing. For instance, we've got skill development tech in the skill development enabling technology, which is available for our team members to go ahead and log into. So there are guided sessions that you can go through, and there are sessions through which you can certify yourself in certain skills, and which could be technical skills and could be soft skills as well. So that's one example of how, and you can do it at your self-paced, right? It's self-paced. It is not necessarily that you have to finish it within 2 days. If you choose to, and if you want to learn it properly, you can take 2 weeks for that, or you could take 3 weeks for that, or 2 months for that. However, there would be generally a guiding timeline that is given to you for you to finish that. But that's one example of how skill development and technology have come together. But there are several other situations in which technology has played a pivotal role in making hospitality business more tech-enabled than it ever was in the past.
Okay.
I think in many colleges, the pace at which the curriculum evolves isn't fast enough as the industry is evolving. And I think that is where the gap lies. Some institutes are they refresh the curriculum at much shorter intervals, and some do it at longer intervals, and that unfortunately becomes an area that finishing schools or skilling institutes can potentially come in, and that could be an opportunity. I wouldn't say could be opportunity. There is an opportunity to identify what the industry wants across different segments, market segments, and so for instance, I see it like a relay race, right? If your first runner is going to come, 110 meters, and your hotel wants that person to join at 140 meters, that 30 meters gap between where the first runner ends and the second runner who takes the baton, uh, that gap of 30 meters is which can be filled, and I think that certainly is a gap. There's no doubt about it, and that gap is rapidly reduced or made nil in many of our hotels when the person joins the company, and we have a buddy system, a mentor system, and a process to align that person. But what happens as a process is that we pour in a lot of time, energy in skilling that person to the level that we want that person to be at. And But I think there is an opportunity to bridge that gap, and some organizations can come in there and can bridge that gap. Uh, ibis hotels globally, we have got 2,000 plus hotels globally. It's a big brand globally. In India, we've got a large footprint, and I'm sure in the years to come, we'll have a significantly larger footprint. Uh, it has, for the longest time, been the best in class. When I say that, in the economy segment, ibis hotels have always been the beacon. We have always been the torchbearers, and we're very proud about that. And we've been able to define what an ibis hotel stands for in terms of the guest experience, in terms of what to expect in the room, what to expect in the restaurant, in the bar, and the whole guest journey is very beautifully designed. And I think any guest who goes to an ibis hotel knows exactly what to expect, and is happy to be staying at an ibis hotel. And I think that's a great place that we are in. I don't think it is easy to define that, and I don't think it's easy to make sure that that level of consistency exists. However, I think we've done that beautifully well, and I take great pride of being part of that beautiful organization.